The Wedding Thinners podcast. Listen to our podcast. The buffet's closed. Wear smaller clothes. Well, here we are, ladies and gents. This is episode 20 of the Wedding Thinners podcast. Joining me this evening, we have the fabulous Rob Sykes. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, everyone.
There's Rob. And Rob, you're joining us from Crete, albeit it's not necessarily sunny because I presume the sun has gone down, and you very, very graciously and kindly stayed up a little bit later for us. So thank you very much for being so patient, dude. I appreciate that. And we also have the amazing Kat Gisby as well. She's joining us not from Crete. Where are you, Kat?
Lewisham. It's not the same.
No, it hasn't got the same ring to it, has it? No.
Nah.
No. Sunny Lewisham, though. Was it sunny today at least?
It was, do you know what? It was fine.
Good.
It was fine. Yeah.
Bearable. You mean fine as in like, it was bearable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
I'm putting too fine a point on it. Yeah.
And I'm really pleased and grateful for both of you just, agreeing to spend some time having a chat this evening. We're here to sort of chat all things mental health, fitness and weight loss and really whatever. So if anyone's listening and they're not sure what to expect from this podcast, if this is your first one, where have you been? But also this is, the most hopefully informal chat about some of the rough and tough stuff that might crop up. But we're also going to learn a lot about Rob, and we're going to learn a lot more about Kat as well. So let's crack on. I'm going to throw a question out there. I'm going to start with you, Kat, and I'll be curious to know how you've been dealing with lockdown, because Kat, tell us a bit more about yourself, and then you can tell us how you've been dealing with lockdown.
Oh man, that's a nice big loaded question to start with, isn't it?
Go.
Go
Just basically unload everything right now.
Everything, all the things. Okay. So I run a theatrical agency called Clarendon Personal Management, and we started in 2019. Little did we know. So we set up in 2019. We had a really, really lovely end to that year. We had lots of our guys doing Christmas work. The beginning of the year is always a bit rocky because everyone's kind of recouping any money lost from over the Christmas period, and people are looking forward to, starting up projects in late March going into April. So the beginning of the year is always a bit fallow anyway. And then this happened. And because we'd only just launched our business before all of this happened, we didn't really have the option of shutting up shop and starting something else, nor did we want to particularly. And we've decided that throughout all of lockdown, we've been looking after our 72 clients as much as we possibly can, either over Zoom or via email, like just sending out little blasts of this is what's going on, this is what the governing bodies are saying about theatre.
Yeah.
It will get better.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The light at the end of the tunnel must be on some kind of string or something, because I feel like I've been saying there is light at the end of the tunnel since about last April.
Yes.
But there is light at the end of the tunnel now, I think. And
we hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll
exactly.
keep everything crossed for that being the case. Most definitely.
Yeah.
And you've well, I think you've offered some consistency to people within an industry that haven't had any consistency for quite some time. So fair play and good on you for doing that. And probably been quite nice to keep yourself busy as well.
I mean, yeah.
And Rob, what about you, mate? So just tell us a little bit more about what you do. I know, Kat, there's a little bit more to hear from you, but Rob, share with us what you do.
Yeah, so hi, everybody. So I'm a sound therapist. And I'm also a furniture maker that specializes in using straw marquetry, which nobody has heard of. Well, not many people have heard of, but those are my two kind of passions. I think I had what somebody described as a portfolio career. I have more than kind of one. I've always had more than one job. So currently it's straw marquetry and it's sound therapy.
Brilliant. Tell us a bit more about sound. Well, like, what was the impact on you for of lockdowns? I mean, you're in Crete, as we know, so I'm not sure whether it's been different there, whether you've been able to just sort of continue normally. And if you have, I wish I'd moved to Crete.
what most of my friends are saying. It's been kind of bittersweet, I must say, because I was on the one hand, being in Crete is I mean, it's a paradise island. I moved here 3 years ago, and it really is paradise. And it largely, to a large degree, certainly up until the kind of the second lockdown. I've kind of lost count of how many lockdowns are in now, but up until November of last year, it didn't feel. I felt removed from what was going on. You know, obviously speaking to my friends and family in London, it felt like a very, very different situation here. There were very few cases. We were still in a lockdown because we have to follow the guidelines from the mainland, from Greece. But it didn't really feel I was largely kind of unimpacted by it in terms of my surroundings and my day-to-day life here in Crete. Where it did affect me was I was actually traveling back to London once a month, actually, before the lockdown, to do my sound therapy. So I was doing group sound baths. I was doing group sound baths in Camden once a month, and also treating people kind of on a one-to-one basis. So that has completely stopped. I've not been back to London since March last year, which is the longest time I've actually been here on Crete. So it's been bittersweet, I have to say.
Yeah.
Some good and some not so good.
Do you have are you out there with your family, or are you out there on your own in Crete?
I'm here with my partner. So
Right.
I came to do a retreat in 2007,
and you never left.
And fell in love with the person running the retreat. I mean, it's such a cliche. My friends, my friends started, I left London and was given the name Shirley Valentine by most of my friends. It was like a midlife crisis. Moved to Crete.
Nice.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And it must be weird for you. I mean, weird, but also massively inconvenient for you, Rob. You can't go back, or you can't yet come back and do your work as a sound therapist. So like that must have impacted you. Like we discussed in last week's podcast about the idea of, you know, most people that we chat to on here, not that we exclusively are talking about COVID, but like one of the a huge I think a huge sort of the huge seed for most recent mental health struggles has been that impact of, I work, this is my routine, this is what I do, this is who I am, and no longer is this viable, to use that horrible word which that knobhead once used about most of our industries. But how did you deal with that? Because for you, obviously, you've got a form of your family where you are in Crete, but obviously you must have family back in London as well. It must be, you know, must have friends, and that's part of your social thing as well. So like, what was the impact on you first of all, and how did you overcome that? Because I mean, for me, I wasn't gigging, and that was a big deal for me. But for you, that's a huge chunk of your life that's on pause.
Yeah, well, very similar to what Kat said. I only qualified as a sound therapist in 2018. So, you know, I was very much in the kind of infancy of getting that kind of career off the ground, if you like. So, you know, when kind of the pandemic hit and everything stopped in March, you know, I was really, you know, I'd only done kind of, let's say, 6 months of kind of, you know, the working in, like, you know, traveling from Crete to London on a monthly basis. So I was just getting into my groove really of the sound therapy, and, you know, doing these regular sound baths and, you know, working with one-to-one clients. So that was tough. But also, you know, I'm a London boy. I was born and grew up in London all my life. So really for me, going back to London once a month was really, I kind of, you know, really it was part of my mental health kind of, you know, it was part of my kind of keeping me sane really, for me to go back and to be able to see my friends and see my family on a regular basis really did help me kind of,
it's like a reset, isn't it? It just sort of takes you back to your beginnings place. It's like going back home, you know, really, isn't it?
I have a very different life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. So it's been tough in that respect to be away for so long from the people that I love the most.
Hang on, sorry, might have a technical glitch. I've just been told I've been signed out of Zoom, but I'm still here, right? You can still hear me?
Yes, you are still here.
Well, screw you, Zoom. I'm doing it anyway. So if I disappear, I will come back. But apparently I'm still here, and I'm sort of defeating all odds. Oh, that's cool. I'm sorry to have interrupted there, Rob, but I mean, like, I'm curious to know a bit more about what a sound bath is because it sounds awesome. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit as well, if you don't mind. And you know, like you say, you know, everybody's routine changed and everybody's routine stopped. And like you were mentioning about going back to London, that's you know, that's your home, that's your reset. I mean, I presume as long as I mean, what is it? What's it like out in Crete? Will you be able to do those things again soon, or is it a case of you just need to wait till whatever we say over in the UK? Are you able to travel basically at the moment in Crete, from Crete rather?
No, we've no is the short answer. We've gone into a kind of the last couple of weeks. We've gone into kind of even stricter lockdowns. You know, we have to send a text message every time we leave the house, stating one of 6 reasons why we're leaving. 2 weeks ago, they enforced a new rule, which is that we can't go more than 2 kilometers from our house to do anything, including shopping or exercise. And now, I think we're now on a 7 p.m. curfew at the weekends.
Oh my God. Wow. So is it still really bad over there then?
I think so. To be honest, I've kind of given up a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't pay attention to, you know, obviously I have to abide by the rules here, but, you know, I'm not somebody that looks at the figures every day of how many cases there are. I understand there are more cases here now than there were this time last year, obviously. Right. So yeah, I really try to. I moved just after Christmas into a tiny village. So I was in Hania, which is one of the main kind of cities of Crete. Crete is obviously quite a big island. So we have Heraklion on the east side, and we have Hania on the west. So both have airports. And I was living in Hania, but you know, since January, I've been living in a tiny village of less than 100 people. So I feel so removed. I'm just surrounded by mountains now.
Wow.
So I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed to have this life, you know, where I'm so far removed from it, but it means that I've kind of lost touch a bit really with what's actually happening.
I suppose that from the health sense, you're in a better place, aren't you, than in the city? But yeah, and I hope that you know, obviously you've got your partner there as well, and that obviously offers some form of relief as well. And hopefully, you know, like we just said about the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully there's something there, and hopefully the same will be said for what's happening over in Crete as well. Because, you know, you said about the 7 p.m. curfew, and then I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm complaining because I can't go and see my mates, and a 7 p.m. curfew and all texting when you want to leave the house is just wow. So yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, mate, and and thank you for spending the time that you are with us this evening. I'm going to come back to the sound bath because it sounds wicked. And if and when you come back into, presumably doing Camden, I'm going to come and have one. If it's something that's suitable for me, that sounds nice. Kat, tell us a little bit more about your so your, as well as your agency that you run. Tell us a bit more about what you do. Because you didn't. I was surprised you didn't start off with the performance aspect that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, it's a funny thing. So I have been working as an agent since about 2018, but before that I was an actor and a singer and performer for the best part of about 10 years or so. And it ended in a really nice way. Like I had my absolute dream job in the West End with the most amazing team, and we were a really lovely little family, and I absolutely loved it. And on the last day, I left and looked at the theatre, and I was like, do you know what? I'm done. And I never expected that to happen, because I was always the one that was like, I'm gonna, you know, keep plowing on and go to all the classes and do all the Q&As and learn all the skills. And then I just left the theatre that day, and I was like, oh.
What was the show? Cool. What was the show that you finished on?
It was The Gruffalo's Child, and it was lush. It was so nice, and I loved it. I was exhausted, but I loved it.
Very
it's
cool.
Just running, like children's theatre is just running for an hour.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
I mean, I didn't think I could. Some days I wasn't sure if I was, and I looked down, my feet were moving. I was like, all right, fine, let's give this a go then.
What do you think? What do you think caused that moment of just like, no, I'm done, it's finished? Where did that come from, do you think?
I think I'd been one of those kids that was like dreaming about getting into the West End, and makes me feel sick just saying it. But that kind of thing, that was like, that was always the goal. That was everything that I was working towards, and working really, really hard. Parentheses, can I swear?
Go for it.
Awesome. Okay. Just had to make sure.
It really depends what you're going to say. I mean, I'm happy. Rob, are you cool with this? Yeah, I think Rob's cool with that, right?
I don't intervene as listening, so we can swear.
Amazing. But yeah, I was working really bloody hard, and that's not even swearing. That's a massive build-up.
Kat, come on! If you're going to do it. Go hard.
I'll get another glass of wine, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. I worked really hard and like got everything I wanted to out of a good career, and I was really, really lucky that I had managed to go from job to job to job to job to job for a good 10 years, and a lot of that was touring. And my husband and I have been together for 10 years, and we realized that for about 40% of that time we've been long distance, because I've just been somewhere else, either touring the UK or the rest of the world or whatever. But so I was just like, do you know what, that was really cool, and I want to see if I'm any good at anything else, which neatly led into composition and writing music. So my husband, his background is music technology, and he's a composer as well. His music is absolutely brilliant, and I'm not even being biased. He's just amazing. And he does a lot of technical stuff in his job as well. Technical stuff. He's going to absolutely shoot me for saying that.
Well, listen, I think what we'll have to do is get him on the podcast at a later date, and then get his version of a side of the story.
My
the invite's
God.
there.
Blimey, he's just going to go, yeah. She doesn't have a clue what she's talking about. Yeah. Sorry. But he's got all of the kit and everything set up. And bit by bit, he's been teaching me how to use all of his sample library and how to mix. Not on mastering yet, because apparently that's a dark art, and I don't think my brain's got the space for that right now. But luckily, a group of my friends, around the end of 2017, they gave me a phone call in a panic and said, hi, we've written this show for the Volts Festival, and we need some music, and we just realized that we don't have any. Can you do it? I was like, well, yeah, I'll give it a go. Absolutely loved it, and ended up like completely overwriting the whole thing, and learned how to compose on a deadline, which was awesome. And now I work with them quite a lot, and we were really lucky. The show won Family Show of the Year, and it's been touring a fair bit ever since, and it's had really, really nice outings. It's called One Duck Down, and it's really, really cute.
One Duck Down sounds good.
One Duck Down.
Yeah. All
it's
right.
Sort of based on a true story. Do you guys remember there was an episode of Blue Planet, or one of the Attenborough thingies, where there were 7,000 rubber ducks that were lost at sea, and then meteorologists were using it to track currents depending on where the ducks were going. So we loosely based it on that, and made it an adventure about one boy trying to like clean up the oceans. So he'd go all around the world and find all these ducks, and ended up cleaning up the oceans along the way. And it's really sweet, and it's really funny, and I'm not biased at all.
It's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
And you bet, like that by the sounds of it, then that's having that skill set and being able to do that has kind of sort of kept you occupied and quite busy during lockdown, I presume. And not only with your agency work, but you wrote something just before lockdown, is this right? And it had a couple of shows, and it was going to lead into something amazing and magnificent, and then lockdown happened, and so it's not quite happened. But am I right in thinking it's the Super Scary Film Club? Is that
Super Scary Film Club? Yes,
Super Scary Film Club. I just want to put my voice out there as that guy, if you want. I mean, I can be there. I can do it. But yeah, tell us a bit more about
Nailed
that.
It.
Thanks.
So January, February 2020. It's really weird thinking as if something actually happened last year, but in those few weeks before, the global clusterfuck, and I'm going to say it because now I've got permission.
There
I
we
did
go.
it. Dropped
Global.
it in. Told you.
Global. Yeah.
Get it out. Right. So because I tend to write quite a lot in January because it's a dead period. It's after Christmas, everyone's still recovering. So I end up writing quite a lot. And I wrote 2 shows in 6 weeks, which you don't do that.
That's a mad way to go about it, right?
Don't have to do that. It's not good for anybody. No, and I was trying to learn to drive at the same time. I was doing an intensive driving course in Southeast London, and don't ever do that.
Wow.
Just stupid idea.
Yeah, you were running towards the light, weren't you? Gosh.
Yeah, I think I've only just recovered now. I kind of needed lockdown just to sit down for a bit and stare at the wall.
So tell us about what's Super Scary Film Club all about.
So Super Scary Film Club is absolutely brilliant, hilarious fun. It's a 3-hander comedy sketch show, kind of along the lines of Potted Potter or Dickens Abridged. It's a family show that takes all of the most famous and well-known horror films, so it doesn't sound like it's going to be family friendly, parodies the bejesus out of them and tries to get like as many titles as it possibly can within the hour. It's great fun. The sketches are absolutely hilarious. The 3 guys who are in it are brilliant. You've got Emma Reed, who does a lot of the Netflix improvisation troupe, and they're all brilliantly funny as well. Have a look at them online if you haven't already. James Kenningale and Maxwell Tyler, who are coincidentally 2 of my clients. So that's good. Yeah. And they're all hysterically funny, and the 3 of them together are just amazing. So for the kids, you're seeing 3 people faffing about reenacting some really silly things with silly hats and silly props and water guns and googly eyes and things. And for the parents, you're just absolutely having a wonderful time watching these horror films being ripped apart for the ridiculousness that underpins all of them.
Yeah, why not? Sounds like a lot of fun. I presume the plan is that you're going to take it back out there when things allow. Yeah,
okay, absolutely. Cool. We're hoping very, very much for a resurgence in October. So kind of having something maybe October half term somewhere for a family show a ready-made family show to go out there that, only 25 people got to see, because this weekend last year, we were supposed to have the second half of the run at the Vaults Festival. Right. And everything got shut down, and here we are.
Well, I look forward to joining you and coming to watch it, because it will happen, as you say, like at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Just not sure.
I would say bring your little uns. Maybe not the littlest little un, but...
No, okay. The 4-year-old. The 4-year-old by then will be, if October, he'll be 5. Yeah, okay, cool. And you very kindly, there's music in it as well, and you very kindly have prepared a piece of music for us to listen to now.
We got the snacks, we got the videotape, so don't relax, cause we'll be staying up late. It's a monster movie marathon of ghosts and goblins, whereupon we'll scream and shriek until it's dawn, and we want you to scream along. All the bravest kids in town have arrived. Ready to jump.
All right, there we go, ladies and gents. That was the Sugar Rush scene from the Super Scary Film Club. Whoa. And we're hoping that that might be live in the theatres in October this year. Is that right? Yeah, October this year, and hopefully no later. October 2021. Is that where we're at? 21? one? Yeah. We're
I
at
mean,
2021. If it's
who
any
knows what
later
day it
than
is.
that, I mean, that's a damn shame, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really crap.
Yep.
Rob, just going back to you, dude. You mentioned about the sound bath. I'd like to know more. What is a sound bath?
Well, a sound bath obviously is part of sound therapy is kind of, there's an interchangeable term. Some people call it sound healing.
Right.
Some people call it sound therapy. I've kind of tend to call it sound therapy. And a sound bath is when you is sound therapy really for a group of people. So when I was doing my sound baths in London, I had probably about 35 people in a studio in Camden I was using. And it's really, sound therapy really is about taking people into a very, very deep state of relaxation using sound. That's the kind of umbrella kind of description really. And you can work with groups of people or you can work with individuals. When you're working with an individual, you can go much, much deeper, and you can work with all manner of things from depression, stress, anxiety, pain relief. I mean, it's even been used to treat cancer. So it's very, the spectrum of uses for sound therapy is far and wide. For the sound baths or the sound journeys, it's probably about an hour where people come and lie down on yoga mats. They have an eye mask. The room's kind of quite dark. It's warm, and really for an hour, I just take them on a journey through sound. I just immerse them in sound. So I use my voice. I use all manner of instruments. I use a drum. I use a gong. I use crystal bowls or metal singing bowls, and it's really just about taking people on a journey through sound. And what happens, the magic really is that where the relaxation kind of happens is that it's the repetition of the sound that the brain kind of interacts with, and you go into a different level of consciousness. So the sound will take you kind of from your everyday level of consciousness, which is
to a deeper level, yeah.
To a deeper level, yeah. So you come out of the sound journey feeling very, very relaxed, but it can also kind of bring out, sound therapy is an energy-based therapy. So it's really working with the energy of the body. So the sound can very often kind of move energy in the body. So that can be transforming pain, or it can be bringing emotions to the surface.
Wow, so that's absolutely fascinating. And then actually, Rob, until Sarah put me in touch with you, I'd never heard of sound therapy. I'd heard of musical therapy or a musical therapist. And I was like, this is curious. And actually, I did think, oh, well, that must be what he does, but he just calls it something different. It sounds amazing. And we were talking on, I don't remember which podcast, but we were talking about how powerful sound can be, but just even on a base level, just like bird singing was actually what we were referring to in one of the previous podcasts, and how like it can, if you really consciously listen out for it, and how much almost like your visual landscape becomes much clearer as well. It sounds absolutely fascinating, and when we're allowed and when permission is granted, something that I'd love to come and try it out, because sounds absolutely amazing. So hopefully you'll have me. I mean, how did you even get in? How do you even get into that? Where do you train for that?
Well, it's funny that you say you didn't know, you'd never heard of it. Up until when I did my training in 2017, I think, and I'd never heard. A friend of mine was kind of mentioned one day that he was going to a sound bath, and I had no idea what that meant, because it's like, what the hell is it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought when you said it as well.
Yeah, it's because it's just that word bath. When you put the word bath next to the word sound, you think, what is that? What can it be? And he took me, so he took me along to this sound bath, and I was sold. I was that experience. I just came out, and I just went somewhere. And that's the thing, because because the sound takes you to a different level of consciousness, it's, you just, when you come out of it, you just feel like you've been somewhere, you don't quite know where, but you know that you've been on some kind of journey, and you just feel so, you just feel so relaxed, so it brings a very kind of profound sense of peace.
Yeah. Is that something that you could, I mean, I presume you've been doing some of that online, and you can you do it online? In fact, I mean, I'm presuming, but maybe you can't.
Yes, you can to a degree. So with I mean, you can do sound baths online. It's not the same experience as the live experience, but they definitely still work. I tend to record. I've attempted twice to do live Zooms, and the technical gremlins have always gotten in the way. So, it's when that happens, it just threw me. So what I tended to do is I've recorded the sound baths, and then I've played them online for people. So it just removes that layer of kind of risk from
and it's the worst feeling in the world, isn't it, when you're in the middle of something Zoom related and you think, oh no, it's not working. And you've got people at the other end who are waiting on you. So okay. Well, I would love to when permissions allow and when we're allowed to, that's something to put in the diary. And Kat, you're going to come along as well if you want to. You're going to come and join us.
Absolutely. I must say, amazing. I wondered if the sound bath was like lying on a massive speaker. And
that sounds quite cool in itself,
really
though.
Vibrations. But it sounds really, really lovely, and I really want to come.
Yeah, it's great. There's part of the kind of one-to-one therapy that I do is this thing called voice analysis. So I record somebody's voice, and I'll get like a graph that will allow me to analyze that person's voice, and then from that graph I'll know which frequencies to give you to listen to rebalance your system, because effectively sound therapy is just all about bringing you back into balance. As a human being, it works on kind of 4 aspects of your being. It works on your physical being, your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. So really what we're doing with the sound is just kind of bringing you back into alignment or back into balance.
So then do you match that frequency with the person's natural speaking voice, or do you go to the other end of the spectrum and balance it out somewhere in the middle?
So obviously everyone has a very unique voice. The thing to remember here is that our voice is, the voice is the most powerful instrument that we all own as human beings. It's, that we can use on ourselves for our own self-healing, if you like. But they say that the voice is an expression of our soul. So it's like, if you called a friend, you would know within seconds if that friend was in a good mood or a bad mood, because the voice is so expressive. If someone's hungover or if someone's sad or angry, or it comes out in voice. When I do the voice analysis, depending on it's like taking a snapshot of where that person is in that moment in time in their life. And I can analyze, based on the graph that I get, I can kind of see if somebody is, needing a particular note to be reintroduced into their system.
A boost of frequencies in certain places.
With the voice analysis, the graph will show kind of high notes and low notes. So it will tell me what that person is missing in terms of the frequencies in their body, so I can reintroduce them. I can, those low frequencies, I can give them back to that person to listen to, and that will kind of bring the high notes down and the lower ones up to a more even level. And that, if you think about the level, is the balance that we're looking for.
Equilibrium, isn't it? Yeah, it's where you want to be. Wow, that's
really
cool. Yeah, really cool. Well, sold. 1 ticket, please. That sounds great. And I've written that down. I'm going to use that with my students. The voice is an expression of our soul. So I'm going to put that on a thing and put it on the display. I like it. Thank you. But Rob, it's not only,
you can have it.
Thank you. Do I need to put Rob Sykes 2021 at the bottom, or is that from somewhere else? I'll just put Rob Sykes, sound therapist 2021. They won't know. And like, obviously,
No, because I took it off my teacher. I stole it from my teacher. So
Oh, okay. Well, we've all stolen something from a teacher down the line, haven't we? I suppose. Like, obviously, sound therapy. It's not the first time that you've used sound to, to sort of manipulate, if you like, an audience. You used to be a DJ as well, didn't you? So tell us a little bit more about your DJ career. What sort of stuff do you do?
I DJ. So I DJ professionally for about 25 years. So I started in or around 1989. Kind of, well, I was going to say by accident, but nothing in this world is by accident. But I had a very, very lucky break in the clubs that I started to DJ in the first club that I DJ'd in was called Quiet Storm, and it was in the West End of London. One of the Davina McCall was one of the promoters of the club. And we used to have people like Prince and Kylie Minogue and John Galliano all kind of coming down to this particular club. So I got a very, very fast track route into kind of this whole DJ world. So I was playing at the Ministry of Sound when it first opened, and I played at many of the best clubs in London at that time, and then from there went to kind of play in and around Europe, and then kind of all over the world. And then the peak, I'd say, of my DJ career was in 2012. So the night of the London Olympics, I played at George Michael's house. He had an after party, and I DJ'd cool for him.
Wow.
So
and up to that point, I was like, I don't need to DJ anymore. I've just played.
tick. Yeah, you've done it all.
Yeah.
And did you stop? I mean, was that your last gig?
No, it wasn't my last gig.
Oh, okay.
I guess I kind of stopped. That was 2012. I mean, I probably stopped properly playing in the clubs around 2014, 2015, because that's when I went up to Scotland and I retrained as a furniture maker.
Right. Did anything bring that on, or was it like Kat? You just sort of went, "I'm done. This feels like a very natural."
Yeah, it's a bit of that kind of. I'd done it for 25 years. I'm somebody that, it's my passion. I love music, has always been my passion. But I think I just got to a point where, I'd done it. I was kind of. It kind of plateaued a little bit. It wasn't really taking me where I wanted it to go. So. It was a bit of both. I gave it up and it kind of gave me up, if you like. So there was definitely a period of grieving over that DJ career. It didn't, when it got to that point where I could see it wasn't going to go any further, I had to kind of accept that, and that was a really difficult kind of pill to swallow, I have to say.
And I guess as well onto other things that you're doing, but I guess as well, like. By the sounds of it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but by the sounds of it, you kind of started at the point where most people are aspiring to get to. Like if you're in a club that's being promoted to, Prince, I don't know, the Z-listers that you've just mentioned. Like you're there, and you kind of you've ticked about 1,000 boxes at the starting point. So
as I say, I was extremely lucky. I mean, I just the people that I met. At the time that I met them, I think I was, like many people say, I was in the right place at the right time. I was,
But like you said as well, like it's not lucky, like it is meant to be, and like something happens, doesn't it? And I'm grateful for everything that's happened to me. Even the shit stuff has led to where I am today. And actually, when I think about what I've got and who I'm surrounded by constantly and what I do, I'm incredibly grateful. So wow, fascinating. And that's a pretty cool DJ career in itself. And I did. No, go on, mate. Go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna echo what you said. I had an amazing DJ career, I have to say. I traveled all over the world. I could get my friends into clubs for free, free drinks, playing music that I love, to, bringing people together with sound. Yeah. I mean, all of it. It's just, it is, it's an incredible career back then. Back then it was an art form because we were playing violin, we were playing,
Yeah.
for me, when it kind of started moving into more digital realms, it became less of an art form, and
Bit more
everyone,
soulless.
everyone and their mother was a DJ, so it lost its kind of appeal, I guess.
Yeah.
When everyone's doing it, it's not so special. But back in the early days when I was playing, it was a skill.
Quite exclusive by the sound of it. And Kat, like you've mentioned obviously your acting as well, but I'm very aware of the gorgeous singing voice that you have, and also very aware of the the amazing work that you do with a group called the Pocket Bells. And I was switched on to the Pocket Bells way before I even met you, actually, because we met at a gig, didn't we? I think, am I right in saying that? We just met randomly at a gig, and you got up on stage. I think.
Don't put it like that.
Yeah, you were one of them. Oh, my friend can sing.
No.
No, that didn't happen.
God.
It couldn't be further from that. And I don't remember how I was made aware of the fact that you were a singer. But I was.
I know exactly how it happened.
Okay.
So you, and this is such a ridiculous story how we met, Tom. This is amazing. That you were playing at a wedding, and It was a family wedding of one of my husband's, I'm gonna say cousin. I think there's I don't know, one of those, not entirely sure what the connection is. At her wedding, and a drunk family member went, Kat, you sing, don't you? I was like, yeah, but not now. And he marched up to you and he said, she can sing. Did you know she can sing? She should sing with you. Right, I'm going to go get her and she's going to sing with you. And I think, bless you for going along with it.
Well, it's interesting because ordinarily I wouldn't. Ordinarily I'd be like, cool, and I just carry on. But I think actually I might have been vocally a bit fatigued that day, and I thought, great, I could do with a rest. So
yeah,
and the rest is beautiful history. Right. I'm pleased that I said yes, because I remember you got up, because we have had that before, and of course you do have those moments where you're like, okay, then jump up, and it's sort of it's terrible, but it's fun as well. Like I mustn't knock it. It's a lot of fun to do it, and the people doing it love it, and the audience love it, and it's a really nice thing to bring people together. But you got up on stage and you smashed the shit out of it, and I remember looking across the other band going, okay, she's quite good. I think you might even, did you do 2 numbers in the end? I think you did 2.
Oh God, if I did, I don't remember.
Definitely outstayed your welcome. That's all I'm saying. But yeah.
Sorry, you got me.
But even stranger than that though, after that show'd finished and we were just chatting and whatever, then I established the fact that you actually work with Elle and I'll say Elle and the Pocket Bells, and I was like, shit, I know them, and that was a really beautiful twist of fate, really, that through some sort of weird industry thing, we kind of knew each other mutually anyway. So yeah, tell us a bit more about the Pocket Bells though, because they're amazing. And Rob, if you haven't heard of them, you should totally check them out.
They are amazing, and I love them. They're my favorite women ever. And it's the 10-year anniversary of Elle and the Pocket Bells this year, which is really, really lovely. So that's coming up in May, I think. But the band was started by Elle and a few core members back in 2011. I joined them as a dep in 2012, I think. And since then, I think I've sung every part somewhere at some point.
But just tell us a little bit about the vibe of the act. This is a very unique performance group, isn't it?
It is, yes. So we kind of go along the lines of Postmodern Jukebox, that we do Andrew's Sisters kind of 1940s inspired harmonies to modern songs. Like one of our big hitters is Walk This Way. That's always an absolute banger. It's so much fun. I love doing that one as well. It's great fun. And I don't know how else to describe it. Tom, help me out. What more can I say?
It's vocal harmony led. It's the Andrews Sisters vibe. It's fun and quirky. It doesn't. What I love about it is that you love it. You love what you're doing, but you're not taking it too seriously as well. And it's just it's tight vocally. It's just brilliant. So I think actually now we should listen to one, shouldn't we? That would be a nice thing to do, right? Can we do that? So what track are we going to have from you? Because you've sent us a whole cacophony of tunes that we can choose from, but what are you going to play for us? Or what am I going to play, basically?
So this is one that I've been noodling around with over the course of lockdown, and something that we all recorded at home. and it's a 1940s inspired version of a 1990s classic, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, this is the one I was watching earlier. Did you get a chance to watch this, Rob? Did I send it to you on YouTube?
I did, actually.
Yeah, this is great. It was
No, you
fantastic.
didn't, but when yeah.
What were you going to say, Rob? Sorry.
I was going to say, as soon as I saw who the other guest was, I kind of went and did a bit of, investigative work and found, did a who's Cat Digsby, and then obviously got led to YouTube and saw and listened to the Fresh Prince track. So yeah, it's brilliant. Well done.
Well, listen, let's have that. The Pocket Bells. Is it Elle and the Pocket Bells, or am I just Pocket Bells?
It's Elle and the Pocket Bells, yeah.
Elle and the Pocket Bells with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Now this is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Now I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground was where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air." Do 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 do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate so fresh and it had dice in the mirror. If anything, I would say that this cab was right, but I thought, nah, forget it, your home's to Bel-Air. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cabbie, "You're home, smell you later." Looked to my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne, sit on my throne, sit on my throne, sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air. To sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air.
All right, we're back. That was a lovely Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rendition, probably my favorite, actually. So tell us why the Fresh Prince? Just because culturally brilliant?
Just because it makes people happy to listen to it. Like the first second, you know exactly what it is, and you go, absolutely yes.
And I guess, I guess when you're doing stuff with Elle and the Pocket Bells, like people possibly don't know what to expect, and they certainly wouldn't expect that in the set. And that's what I like. And that's what I love about the band is you watch and you sort of like, oh my God, they're doing this in this style. It just what? So yeah, I think it's such a unique, fantastic sound, and you guys always like look the part as well. You do the whole either I don't know, actually, is it the Andrews sisters look? You do that look so well. Yeah, it's just the whole package is brilliant.
We're quite lucky that we're very varied, and the different venues that we played in, we kind of tailor ourselves to wherever we are. So we had a residency at the Ritz for the last 5 Christmases, I think, every Saturday in December, which was really lovely. And that was very 1920s, slinky, sparkly dresses and tight 1920s hair. And that was always a massive party, and it was amazing fun. Yeah. And then like we played Glastonbury, where we do a few more of our electro swing sets with a DJ called Mr. Trick, who is going to have an album out later on this year. Listen to that. It is liquid gold. It is so uplifting and so much fun. I cannot wait for it to be released. And we're doing some BVs on there as well. So that's really cool. Exciting. And we're really, really lucky that we've had some really nice residencies, and we did... we played Quaglinos quite a few times as well. So like it's a real mixture and a difference between the very sleek, what you would expect a kind of a sultry jazz singer to do, but then we're singing Walk This Way in 5-part harmony. Yeah. And then Bugle Boy with, like, as in Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, the standard, the very famous Andrews sisters, with a DJ playing a beat in the background and like a full brass section behind us. Like,
but it just
it's
works.
two
That's what I
completely
mean. And
different
it's
things.
the
Yeah.
whole package of entertainment, isn't it? It's the surprise of it. It's the musicality and how fantastic that is. Yeah, it's the whole package. And that's, you know, that's absolutely why you know, I've always aspired to try and get you guys playing up at Poppy's, and hopefully we
please.
can do that in the near future. That would be amazing. That would fit right in. And
Gigs.
Rob, just so
Yes,
you know,
please.
Poppy's is a fish and chip shop that have you heard of
Well,
Poppy's?
of course I
Oh,
have,
of course
because
you have, because of Sarah.
my friend
Of
Sarah's
course. No, of course. I should have put two and two together there, shouldn't I? Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah, so I think it would be amazing to get you up there at some point. So let's hope we can do that soon. And yeah, and Rob, you can come down as well. Have you come back? And it's in Camden, so it works really well. Do a sound bath, come and have
Exactly.
some chips, wicked, and listen to awesome music.
Yeah.
What could be finer? And now
Well,
listen, we've off the back of eating chips.
as well. So
Yeah, I miss chips, and they do an amazing sticky toffee pudding there as well. Yeah, whenever my band are up there playing, we always, or less so now, but I remember the first time my band played up there, every member of the band looked like they were in some sort of like fish and chip coma, and they just had to get up and play, and it was like, oh my god, that was so good, and just you could tell their mind was on what they just experienced. So and it's with that lovely tenuous link of fish and chips that I'm going to ask you a question that I wanted to ask you in the previous section and completely forgot, but I wrote it down this time, so it's there. And I ask a lot of the guests that come on and chat to us about this, so go with it as you wish. What is your relationship like with food? Now, you have, unlike other guests, you've had a bit of time to sort of maybe process it and think about it a little bit more, whereas normally I literally throw it at people and they have to think on the spot. So Kat, in light of that question, what would you say your relationship is like with food? I know that you've been shielding, and I know you've mentioned that you've been doing tons of cooking, so has your relationship changed as a result of that?
Kind of, yeah. I definitely have more of an appreciation for food, and I'm sure, as both of you will have experienced, like being on the road and gigging and not knowing what time you're going to be able to eat something. And it's, you know, a lot of like a musician's diet is a sausage
great.
roll and a baby bell from a petrol station occasionally, because you don't know when you're next going to get some food.
Yeah.
Just, it's been so lovely having the time to plan what I'm going to cook, things that I'm really excited about eating, and it's something that my husband and I can do together. Like we've been getting into baking bread, particularly. Like we bake baguettes quite a lot now, which has been really, really nice. And he did, just tonight, he did an amazing garlic and lemon roast chicken that I'm going to turn into other things throughout the week, which was really, really good.
I've not had dinner yet, so this is screwing me over. God.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's your problem.
Well, no,
You
I've had a salad. Don't get me wrong. I've eaten something. I'm not silly.
Sure.
Not anymore, anyway. Yeah, that sounds great. And so you've baked a baguette. Am I right in thinking with a baguette you need to leave a hole in the middle?
Oh, so we don't do that. I mean, you may well need to leave a hole in the middle, and we don't do that for quite literally no reason, and we're getting it wrong. But whatever we've made, we quite like. But we always do the kind of overnight starter. So you put the flours together and a bit of the yeast and separate the two, put them to one side. One of them you add cold water and it kind of turns into a batter overnight. Right. Then you go back to the second one, mix everything together, and then that makes the dough.
I love a baguette. You got to love a baguette, really. So your appreciation of food has changed throughout lockdown, and I suppose actually having the time to cook, you know, allows you to think a bit more about, you know, the nutrients and, you know, what you're consuming, and that in turn, do you feel healthier as a result of that? Are you finding that you're turning less and, you know, to the crap food, and now you're like, well, you know, this is good stuff and it tastes good and it's, you know, it's nourishing, it's wholesome, and it's full of the stuff that my body needs?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's the things that we were generally quite healthy eaters anyway, but of course in lockdown, like I have a very sedentary job. I'm lucky enough to not need to leave the house for work. But if you eat something, then you don't use any of that energy. No. Unless you're, you know, going for a run or doing a bit of exercise or something. So it's for us, it's not so much the health benefits as feeling better in more of kind of a holistic sense.
Yeah.
That yeah, just kind of knowing that everything that we've done is made from scratch rather than
and it's
that we-
healthier as well. No process.
Yeah.
It's no processing. Yeah, it's good stuff that you're doing.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. And have you like do you do yoga?
I do, but I'm 5'0", so it looks a bit weird.
So what have you been doing just to sort of keep yourself active? Because I know you've been shielding, and that predominantly, I guess, means that you can't leave the house at all.
Yeah.
What have you been doing to
that's
keep
fun.
yourself active? Yeah.
I try and do quite a lot of different things. Like my husband is really, really good at getting on the exercise bike first thing every morning. So he watches the news and sits on the exercise bike for a good half an hour or so, which fair play to him. I can't speak first thing in the morning, so I don't know how he does that. But I like to do a mixture of, we've got a couple of little parks by us here in Southeast London, so it's really nice just to run around them and see how the seasons are changing. A bit of yoga, some Pilates, which is really nice. And my husband's got a set of weights that have been gathering dust for a while. So I've cracked them back out again and have built up like a nice kind of resistance training schedule that I do every now and again.
Yeah. I love the thing that's really turned me on to exercise and actually appreciating it and seeing the benefits of it, but also fooling my body into exercise, and was learning to box. And that had always been something that I was keen on. And I know I've said it in previous podcasts, how amazing and transformative that was for me. The guy that, I was doing it with is a good mate of mine, so that really helped, but also he's a PT. So he knew, and I'd been very upfront and honest with him about what I was actually trying to achieve, which was to fool my body into getting fitter, but actually having to learn a skill. Otherwise I was going to get punched in the face. Nobody wants to see this ruined, do they? Look at that beautiful face. So yeah, that was really the start for me, was learning boxing. And then I kind of I liked the fact that I could feel fit. I was feeling fitter. There was a skill that I was learning there, and I felt good as a result of that. And actually I felt, not that I would ever want to use any of those skills, but I felt, I don't know, a bit more assured. But then that then turned to me doing more weight work and resistance work, like you've just mentioned. And the thing for me, from a fitness point of view, that actually helped me more than anything, I think, to continue with it, was the fact that where I was lifting weights, I could feel there was a difference, and I could feel the change. Whereas previously, when all I'd been doing was going to see a PT and they'd get me running back and forth and lifting the medicine ball and, hopscotch and do this and whatever and shut up and whatever and do that and run. I suddenly, and you never see any benefit from that. You don't see the weight. You don't see the weight loss. You don't feel any different. You feel exhausted. I felt embarrassed, but I think because I could feel the transformation, and I used to walk around not to be vain, but as a reminder, almost just sort of holding my arm just to be like, oh, that's my muscle. Oh, fucking hell, look at that. I did that, and that's as a result of this. So yeah, that
it does
weight
make
stuff,
a difference.
Mate. Oh man, it's brilliant. Weight stuff.
I feel like that's the thing that I've gotten into the most. And again, being 5'0", it feels better to have a bit of muscle, and if I need it, it's there, and just feeling stronger and a bit bigger than I am is useful.
Yeah, very. I lifted my kit. All my gig stuff has been in storage because I've been having building work done, and I lifted it from the storage place to my car, and then the car when I drove home back to the storage. And these speakers are heavy, and I was one-handing them. I was like, what's this light old thing? So it's the small little things, the non-scales victories is what they call them. So yeah, I'm loving the weights as well. It's brilliant.
And it builds up over time. If it's something that you can just do, I usually do it first thing in the morning, once or twice a week, just lifting the weights as many times as I can think, and then I think, oh wow, I did twice as many as I did last week. And it's definitely something that you can start off small and quite happily build up, and you see a difference with things like that.
Great.
So good to get into.
I'm pleased that we've got that common ground there. I shall be messaging you and asking you what you're doing next. That'd be cool.
It's all about the gun show. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. 1001. What about you, Rob? What's your relationship like with food? I mean, you've had even longer now to think of a response. So you're very, very fortunate.
I've gone off on so many different. Obviously, while still listening to you two, I've obviously gone off on many different tangents in terms of my relationship with food and in thinking of how to answer this question. I'd say I generally have a good relationship with food. It's interesting that since I left the UK and moved to Crete, obviously we don't have, Marks and Spencers here, for example. So we don't, so all those processed foods. I'm eating far less processed foods because they're just not available here. But my diet did significantly change. Also, when I moved here, I did an ayahuasca ceremony, and it totally changed my relationship to eating meat. And one of the things that came up for me in that ceremony was this thing about the animals and the slaughter of animals. So my kind of relationship with eating meat changed as a result of doing that particular plant medicine ceremony. So I don't eat meat anymore. My weakness, I guess, is that I have a sweet tooth. So I kind of, chocolate and crisps are my kind of snack treats. But I'd say generally my relationship with food has always been pretty good. But it's better now that I'm living in Crete, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and also
that's not to say that I don't miss Marks and Spencer's lasagna and all the other kind of amazing moussaka. No, actually, not lasagna. The Marks and Spencer's moussaka was my go-to. That was my comfort food. That was my treat. So,
they used to do this. I mean, not that we should advertise Marks and Spencer's an awful lot, although I am conscious of that. We keep saying Marks and Spencer's. No, I don't mind. But what I'm saying is they're not giving us anything. So why? It's all right for Chris Evans. He gets everything from them. But they used to do this spread. My wife used to have a flat just on the outskirts of Blackheath, really close actually, probably to where you are in Lewisham as well. And there's a Marks and Spencer's garage, and they used to do this cheese toast spread. It was in a butter, well, it was in a butter like thing, and you'd get it out and you'd spread it, and it was thick, and you'd put it under the toaster, and my God, under the grill rather, and it was just, but yeah. So yeah, Marks and Spencer's do the good shit. Let's put it.
You know what? I think I'm down the road from that petrol station. So first thing tomorrow, I'm going to go out and find it.
No, they don't do it anymore. I've checked.
What?
It's not there. I drove all the way from my house to find it. Never. It's gone. It's all gone. And it's not because I bought it all and have it in storage somewhere. It's just it must have just been one of those things they did every now and then. So damn you, Marks and Spencer's.
Oh man.
If they're going to do anything, though, bring it back. But Rob, the food in Greece is just stunning. And I I went out there a few times with my parents on holiday. Just, it's fresh, isn't it? It's like you say, non-processed. Yeah. It's just good. Like, you just feel healthier eating it.
I mean, the tomatoes taste like. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to say the tomatoes taste like tomatoes. The tomatoes taste like strawberries. I mean, it's just I mean, that was quite mind-blowing for me moving here, tasting fruit and vegetable that actually tasted like it was supposed to taste.
Yeah, brilliant.
I suddenly realized, oh God, all that shit I was eating, thinking I was eating an apple, the taste, it just, there's no comparison. I mean, yes, the Mediterranean diet, obviously, as we all know, is a very good diet. It's been proven to kind of help with the aging process. People that tend to eat a Mediterranean diet tend to live longer. But yes, olive oils. I mean, the neighbor that I had when I lived in Hanya, her garden literally had, this is going to be a bit of a roll call, but she had fig trees, lemon trees, oranges, apricots, pomegranates. I mean, it was just, and it was, she was like, oh, just come and help yourself fruit. And there's something very magical about, and it does, I never got bored of it, of going to pick a lemon off a bloody tree. I mean,
and then using
or an orange, I'm picking this fruit off a tree. It's like, that's when I say that. Now I'm going to sound like I'm part of a Cretan tourist board information, but this place is paradise in that sense. You couldn't, it's just,
you literally live off the land, don't you?
The food really is, out of this world.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm happy to come and see you in Camden for the sound bath, but I might just go out and see you in Crete by the sounds of it.
Absolutely.
And we could do like a sound bath food retreat. What do you reckon? Let's do it. We could take the Wedding Thinners podcast global. We go international. Yeah, I like that idea. All right. Well, listen, thank you both so much for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute blast, and like I said in the little mini break we had a moment ago, it's always a like when the conversation just flows and when it's just easy, when there's laughing and stuff like that. It's exactly what I want. So thank you both so much for taking the time to just come and chat random stuff with me, really. Kat, how can people find out more about your agency, or how can people find out more about your performance with the Pocket Bells and the 10-year thing? Just generally, like, how can they get in touch with you if they want to know more about what you're doing?
So in terms of Pocket Bells, find us on Facebook. We're Ellen the Pocket Bells on Facebook. We don't tend to use Twitter. And then normally on Facebook and Instagram. So I think on Instagram, we're at Pocket Bells. We put all of our videos and stuff on there, and there's going to be lots more coming up soon. And we are very, very, very much hoping for some more gigs over the summer. That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
In terms of composition and new shows, very much hoping Super Scary Film Club is going to have an outing in October. There might be a new show at the Vaults over the summer, an immersive dining experience, possibly, hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed that everything is going ahead. So that's a family show, so do come and see that with the whole clan. Yeah, I think that's it.
Brilliant. Well, and Rob, what about for you, dude?
Okay, so I'm currently the journey home is something that I'm currently promoting, which is
yes, that's right. I'm sorry,
5-week online course. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Talk about it now quickly.
Yeah, no, but we can take the time. We don't have to wrap up. Let's talk about it. You got an online course, journey home.
So my partner is a body psychotherapist. He does this thing called core energetics. And we've kind of collaborated and created this kind of 5-week online kind of audio course for people that we're calling the Journey Home. And it's really about connecting people to their kind of inner power and kind of sovereignty, if you like. It's really about cutting out the external noise that's going on at the moment. So, everything that's making people feel fearful and stressed and anxious. This course really is about cutting out all of that noise and coming back to the center of to our own truth. And we're kind of guiding people on this kind of adventure, if you like, this 5-week adventure where we're connecting them to their breath. It's a bit of an exploration of kind of mind, body, and sound therapy. So. Each week we have a different theme. So the first week is called The Art of Pausing, where we just really, connect people to their breath and get them to kind of, to literally just pause and breathe and come into their body. The second week is The Art of Listening, where I kind of give them some techniques to kind of really expand their listening, which sounds really simple, but it's part of kind of, this whole sound therapy experience, how to listen rather than to focus. Listening is very different to just hearing. When you're listening, you're bringing much more kind of more consciousness to the actual act of listening. And then the third week we're doing The Art of Seeing. So we kind of each week builds on the previous week. We're giving people, it's really just about giving people these kind of tools, if you like, to really work with them, work with their own emotions, work with their thoughts, to really kind of strip away all this kind of stress and fear and anxiety and just connect them to their own sense of truth and inner power. So that's one thing that I'm doing. It's called The Journey Home. The website is thejourneyhome.one. And then for my sound therapy, it's robsykessoundtherapy.com. And for my straw marquetry work, it's robsykesdesign.com. And I think I still have a profile on Mixcloud and SoundCloud for my DJ work. There's some podcasts up there, which I think is my name, Rob Sykes.
Cool. And are there any tracks that maybe we could share within the podcast? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are a bit.
You can say no. I mean, you could even tell me to F off.
Because the mixes are kind of other people's music.
Oh, so okay, of course.
It's not stuff I've created. But I will actually share with you, maybe not for the podcast, but I will share with you a sound bath that you can actually listen to, both of you, and you can kind of experience it. Because, like I said earlier on, you can still have a very, very powerful experience, listening to it on headphones rather than being in a live environment. So I will send you a sound bath.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Amazing. Probably best not to listen to it on the journey home, though, right? In the car. Don't do that. No, don't do that. All right. Well, listen. Thank you. I really genuinely appreciate your time. And Rob, I know you've stayed up super late to be here and to be chatting with us as well. So thank you. Extra special thank you to you. And look after yourselves. And, I hope for both of you that some sense of normality resumes or starts to resume soon. And keep in touch. Send anything you want through our socials. We would love to hear and see what you're doing as well. And all that really remains to say is we're going to finish with another song from you, Kat. And you've been doing a load of solo things at home as well. And this is the evolution of lockdown. Is that right?
Yes. So I very much miss collaborating with other people and writing for other people. So I got bored and made a band with myself. And I've done some silly 6-part a cappella arrangements. So this evolution of lockdown is just the various stages of lockdown 1. So I did this in time for the beginning of lockdown 2 starting. So it's all about feeling optimistic at the beginning, you're feeling great, and then you think you're going to undertake loads of projects and that doesn't happen, and then you're just plain depressed because that's just happened, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And what else? You get sick of other people around you, you get spiraling into social media, and there's a little Imogen Heap at the end, which I think sums everything up. Yeah.
And I would like to add at this point as well, we're going to play the audio as part of the podcast, but the video is absolutely brilliant as well. So I will be sure to include the link to the video. It's on YouTube, so you can check it out. Just they can find you by typing in Cat Gisby if they want, can't they?
I think I might be Cat G on YouTube.
Cat G, you are Cat G. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yes, Cat G. But we'll send the link as well on our podcast stuff. So this is Cat Gisby or Cat G on YouTube, if we're going to be really sensible and proper, with the evolution of lockdown.
I'm broke, but I'm happy. I'm poor, but I'm kind. I'm short, but I'm healthy. Yeah. I'm high, but I'm grounded. I'm sane, but I'm overwhelmed. I'm lost, but I'm hopeful, baby. And what it all comes down to is that everything's gonna be fine, fine, fine. Cause I've got one hand in my pocket and the other one's giving a high five. Da, 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 da. Dum, 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 da, dum, 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 dum. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking now, everybody's joking now. The clock runs out, time's up, over. You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you want it, you better never let it go. You wanna get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you want it, you better never let it go. You wanna get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I can't sleep tonight. Everybody's saying everything is alright. Still I can't close my eyes. I'm seeing a tunnel at the end of all these lights. Sunny days, oh, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling you belong. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I 17. Why does it always rain on me? Even though the sun is shining, I can't avoid the lightning. Why does it always rain on me? Why does it always rain on you? Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. Well, you started out with nothing, and you're proud that you're a self-made man. And your friends, they all come calling, slap you on the back and say, please, ooh, please. Birth control, Ho Chi Minh, Richard Nixon back again. Moonshot, Woodstock, Watergate, punk rock, Beacon, Reagan, Palestine, terror on the airline, Ayatollahs in Iran, Russia's in Afghanistan, Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, heavy metal, suicide, foreign debts, homeless vets, AIDS, crack, Bernie kids, hypodermics on the shore, China's under martial law, rock and roller color wars. I can take it anymore. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire, but when we are gone, will it still burn on? And on, 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 and oh, where are we? What the hell is going on? The dust has only just begun to form. Crop circles in the carpet, sinking feeling. Ransom notes keep falling out your mouth. Snit, sweet talk, newspaper were cut out. Speak no feeling, no, I don't believe you. You don't care a bit, you don't care a bit. Ransom notes keep falling out your mouth. You don't care a bit, sweet talk, newspaper were cut out. You don't care a bit, no feeling, no, I don't believe you. Don't care a bit, you don't care a bit, you don't care a bit. Here I go again on my own. Ugh, no.
And that's it. That's the end of episode 20. I never thought I'd get to episode 20 of any podcast. Never thought I'd get to the end of episode 2. So you are making history today. So thank you both so much. And that's it. Episode 20 finished.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Rob.